together means more security. Living together means being helpful, complementary to each other. People came together, and as usual, till this date, as we are intrigued by the nature, human beings, even in those days, were intrigued. They sought answers to various phenomena around. What brings rain? What makes the sun rise? What makes the night fall? What causes death? What brings disease? So on and so forth. And people were often helpless against the forces of the nature. The rain, the storms, the cyclones, the forest fires. Human being was too small, and he found himself to be so helpless against all that was there around him. And what was of foremost importance to him was his survival. And in that struggle to survive, he was forced to seek answers. Answers to various things that were happening around him. Answers to various things that were happening to him. And then the answers were not available. When the answers were not available, somehow he had to supply himself with the answers. Because if you do not have an answer to your question, the question becomes too nagging. It will not allow you to rest. And somehow then, all those things which could not be answered suddenly found an answer when man created God as an answer to all this. The forest fires break because of God. The volcanoes erupt because of God. The rain falls because of God. And now he had found that if God is an entity, maybe we should please him. And thus began what began with his quest to understand the nature, what began as his quest to understand the forces around him, now started culminating into an answer, which perhaps at that moment was the only way to find that an answer which is satisfying. The man then started saying, there is our God, and man in some other place in a tribal, another tribe had another God. Now there was not just clash between the tribes, but it was also clash between the gods. Theology had started emerging, and all the theologies then started getting more organized, more sophisticated. Every theology had a claim that it had an answer to all your problems. Because that answer could be as simple, God. And it was though not an answer, the actual answer was, I don't know. But we were too afraid to admit, I do not know. And there was, then God created. I am yet not coming to Vedanta at all. I'm just bringing to you a general view of, as it would be seen from the eye of a modern researcher. God and theology started formulating itself. In different words, God was invented as an answer to those questions which you could not answer. Instead of admitting ignorance about it, fake wisdom was feigned. And that became theology. These theologies then had one more claim, that they had an answer, not only answer for phenomena that was happening around you, but every theology in itself claims that it has the capacity to solve the problem of human suffering. It is very interesting because some of them are saying that by going to some place, your problem is going to get solved. And that place could be heaven. And we are not arguing whether it is a Christian heaven, a Buddhist heaven, a Muslim heaven, a Hindu heaven. But then that answer was, a solution was in some space, a spatial solution was offered. Another form of theology, instead of looking at space as the solution, said in time, there will arrive a time when all your problems will finish. And therefore there was saying that not now, but somewhere else, the problem is going to end. Sometime later, the problem is going to end. Those theologies which went ahead to say that your problems will finish in some place, none of them ever said that your problems will finish as you are living, when you are living. All of them had the solution, and the solution was posthumous. This is common to all the religions if you observe. Only when you go to heaven, only when God descends. So some of them have used space, some of them have used time. And therefore, in different words, all these theologies which are saying, claiming a solution to your problem, all of them have got a solution to offer which is in the gambit of time and space, in the orbit of time and space. Later on, and that later on is so much later on that after your death, and not even immediately after your death, but you may have to wait, and that much waiting time nobody really has, because you are already forgotten, the world has already forgotten you. It was a very convenient answer. These theologies went to become so sophisticated that they become organized religions. And so well organized, the systems were so much in place that the systems became rigid. They controlled politics and geography of this globe. They controlled human beings, and therefore then after that religion and that theology just did not have a claim of offering a solution to the human beings. But if you look at the history, that the same things which emerged as a solution became a problem, have become a problem. They arrived on the stage with a claim that they are going to offer you a solution. Look back at the history and you are going to find that not solution, but they themselves are continuation of a problem, in fact a graver problem. Therefore, all of those which are claiming that they can offer something to you, how much they can offer, what exactly can they offer, is a questionable issue. At the same time, we have to have one more thing. You will come across hundreds and thousands of people as they follow, millions and millions of people as the followers of theologies and religions. Because every time some theology emerges, it promises by saying that it will take care of you. Every time a religion emerges, it keeps on saying that it is going to offer you a solution. Not here, but somewhere else. Not now, but sometime later. Your problems may not end over here in this worldly life. But once when you reach the heaven, there is no dearth for you to enjoy objects. There is no dearth of anything for you then after, but that is in heaven and maybe sometime later. They kept supplying the desperate people a hope, a hope. Whether one reached that heaven or one did not reach the heaven, where all the problems are finished, is another issue. But one thing definitely has happened, and that is that people became happy, at least with little hope, that someday their problem will finish. Somewhere their problem of dukkham will finish. It will end. My suffering will end, if not now, at least after this life. And therefore people were eagerly waiting to die so that a hope was supplied. And wherever there is hope, the other nice word for it is optimism. Give them hope. Whether you give them anything else or not, but at least give them a hope, give them a promise. Whether that promise is empty or whether that promise is fulfilled is another issue. But the very fact that whenever you are going to give a promise, whenever you are going to tell some person that yes, next week I will give you the money that I have borrowed from you, the person at least for this week is going to stay happy because he is going to get his money back next week. Hope, hope. And therefore it all was just a matter of giving hope, supplying hope. And people felt that this hope, this optimism is what is required. Have you really seen this? That you have certain medicines which do not cure the ailment, but just suppress, subdue the symptoms. You are having a stomach ache, you really don't know what is the cause of that stomach ache, but if you are going to take a painkiller, that painkiller is going to subdue the pain for some time. It is going to become blunt. You may not experience it as acutely and as sharply as you were experiencing it before. But that is not at all a solution. It is not at all a solution. And over a period of time, we get addicted to those medicines. Those drugs, we get addicted because they somehow subdue. And therefore, religions then became addictive. It was not wrongly said when it was said that religion is the opium of the masses. It did not solve the problem, but just gave a hope, and in that hope, you were delighted. Just delighted. And in that delight, you forgot your problems for some little while, some little time. Supplying hope, optimism. Go on giving optimism. There was another religion from the East, teachings which came from the East, and that was one breakthrough. It was nothing new to the Orient, to the Eastern world, but it definitely was something different for those places beyond Indian borders. Buddha came and he said, Sarvam Dukkhamiti. Sarvam Dukkham. Sarvam Kshanikam Kshanikam Sarvam Dukkham Dukkham. Sarvam Shunyam Shunyam. And people thought, because they were made too optimistic, and that optimism slowly started losing its grip, Buddhism came and said, no, whatever it may be, no matter how beautiful that woman is, no matter how beautiful and that food is, but eventually it will lose its charm. You better realize it and understand it as early as possible, because earlier you understand, easier will it be for you to get out of that muck. And suddenly then people thought that it is something so pessimistic. Instead of giving hope, it is just making us so hopeless. Now you have these two things. On one hand, you have optimism offered by the religions, a hope something is going to happen nice to you later on. And in the common mainstream people, you are going to hear this phrase very often, God is going to do everything all right. God is going to do, He has got bigger plans for you later on. Optimism, I'm not against if somebody feels happy with this. I'm not going to snatch away that person's happiness. Let him keep it. But this is optimism, the religion that the religion offers. There is another end which totally says that world in any form is dukkhameva. Buddha became immediately popular because there was an extreme. Extreme was seen. Extremes always are popular. Have you seen that? Extremes are always popular. Rejected. So there was optimism, there was pessimism on one hand. The question that is there in front of us is, of these two categories, where exactly does Vedanta sit? Is Vedanta capable of providing some hope or not? Or is Vedanta going to snatch away our hope? Where does Vedanta sit? It has to sit either in this category or the other category, because people want these clear divisions. And I am going to say Vedanta neither sits here nor there. Nor is Vedanta sitting on a fence in between, because Vedanta does not belong to this league at all. It is not meant to give you any optimism, any hope, or it does not have to snatch away any hope. Because all of them singularly, unanimously, are looking forward towards providing a solution to the human problem, to the problem of human suffering. Whether you are an Eskimo, or you are living in Amazon, or living in New York, or living in New Delhi, does not matter. As a human being, you are being persecuted by dukkham. The immediate reasons which are available to you, maybe it is the heat in the city, the cold of Chicago, or it could be some other thing from the Congo Basin. We don't know. The immediate reasons could be different, but the fact remains that everybody says that aham dukhi. I suffer. Yes, I do experience bouts of happiness, bouts sporadic, bouts of peace, but I do suffer. With little intervals, I do suffer. Everyone says. And therefore, when everyone says, then every theology and every religion therefore seems to be competing. That this is the solution that we offer, and ours is the best solution. And if you observe all of them, they have just common thing to say. Their language may be different, their prophets may be different. One is asking you to come to his heaven because he says that this is real heaven. The other says that come to my heaven because that heaven is real. My God is God, your God is not God, and both of them are at loggerheads. That's why every religion is fighting with the other one. waging war against each other. Vedanta says that this problem of human suffering needs to be analyzed first before you can offer a solution. Before you can offer a solution, and that analysis is that neither dukkham is caused by God or by any external force called as devil or Satan. Where does it come from? An atheist also can say that my wife or my husband or my neighbor is making me unhappy. When you are saying that someone is making you unhappy, which means your sorrow, your suffering is imported from the world into you. It comes from the world to you. Is the world responsible? Then at the same time you will also hear a strong argument that no, the world is meant to make me happy. And both of these you stand over there unable to see where exactly is the problem. Where exactly is this problem? From where does this suffering come? Where does it come from? Does it come from the world, or do I produce it in myself? Or does it come because I get in contact with the world? Words are, you're going to find similar. Yehi samsparshaja hoga dukkha yonaya evate. Contact with the world is causing you dukkham, but at the same time you have a counter argument to say that contact with the world also gives you joy. Eat a gulab jamun and you will know what is there on your tongue. You know what is gulab jamun? Okay. From where does this dukkham come? The very reason I said that Vedanta does not belong to this league at all. To this league, whether you want to categorize it as optimistic or pessimistic, it's impossible. You cannot, because it is not in the league. It's far away from all this. Very, very far away. Any form of your dukkham means the sense of inadequacy, incompleteness. Whenever you say that you are unhappy because you don't have money, it means you don't have adequate money. If you say I'm unhappy because I have not received sufficient love and affection, that means that inadequacy, incompleteness is what is the problem. This we say as parichinnata. This incompleteness is that. And incompleteness means limited, small. Something that is small, limited. Anything that is limited in nature cannot be a solution. Whether it is a heaven or earth or next life or anything over here. And therefore, unless and until you have found that what is complete, that what is infinite, this problem of suffering cannot end. The problem of suffering is not going to end by you reaching heaven. Or the problem of suffering is not going to end by you endlessly waiting in time. Waiting endlessly in time. No. And therefore, whatever is seen is something apart from you. And that what is not you is limited in nature. Is limited, and therefore the world in any form cannot be the solution. Now, where are you going to seek? Because the world in any form that comes to you cannot be your solution, where are you going to seek the answer, the solution to your problem, because you are desperately wanting to have this? This is what you want, whether as a child, as an old person, as an educated, as an illiterate, whatever. Everybody is striving singularly for this, and that is he wants to end the suffering. Dukkha parihara is what he is seeking. Dukkhasya antam katham bhavati. Let that be your question. When this is your question, then we can try and find out where it is. Because you do not know what can end this, therefore all that now you require at this point is to know. And to know means you require the appropriate means of knowledge. When you are seeking the end of dukkham, an absolute end of dukkham, not a temporary, not an interval, not a small little respite, but absolute, completely, that we call by the word moksha. Dukkhasya atyantika nivrittihi paramasukhasya avaptihi. This is what is called as moksha. This particular word is very peculiar to the Upanishads, to Vedanta. Because this is the Purushartha, this is what is sought by you. And you want to know this, how can moksha be attained? And in order to know, you will require the means of knowledge. Without the means of knowledge, knowledge cannot take place. If you have the means of knowledge, knowledge takes place. But in absence of that means, the knowledge cannot take place. We say Vedanta Upanishad is the pramanam, is the means. We do not say Vedanta is knowledge or a body of knowledge. The tradition does not give you that kind of a freedom to say that Vedanta means a school of philosophy. If you are interested in calling it as a school of philosophy, you will find very little. But the moment you understand that it is means of knowledge, it is not knowledge. Knowledge is something that you will have only when you have the means of knowledge. Just as you have eyes, and eyes are the means through which the colors and forms are illumined. If you have eyes, then the knowledge of colors and forms takes place. You don't have to do anything. Eyes are not knowledge, but eyes are the means of having the knowledge. You do nothing over there. All that has to be done is when the eyes operate, function, knowledge or experience is had. And over here, just as the eyes are capable of illumining colors and forms, this is the field in which the eyes will function. So also Upanishad as a pramanam functions in the field called as moksha. This is something which is illumined by the Shabda Pramana. And when this happens, when you have that means, knowledge is had. What is that moksha? What is that moksha? How can it be attained? And here that Upanishad comes and says that limitless sukham which you are seeking is nothing else but you. That ananta vastu, what you are seeking, is not sitting somewhere up in the heaven or has to be created, discovered, made, attained, achieved. No, 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 it is you. And therefore what remains with you now is to verify how is this I, that Ananta Vastu. Therefore Vedanta is not giving you, making you a promise. Vedanta does not make a promise that your dukkham will end. We are saying that it already has ended, because where you have to reach is you, and that is where you already are standing. And therefore there is no question or a promise to say when will it end or it will end very soon. No, sir, it already has ended. It never was. And that is what you have to find out. Therefore, it is neither making a promise, nor is it pushing you into pessimism, nor is it giving you, providing you a hope. Those who are seeing Vedanta as something that gives you a hope, then they have really not understood what Vedanta has to say. Therefore, when I am saying that it does not give you hope, nor does it push you into pessimism, and nor is it sitting somewhere on the fence, or the Vedanta has to say just this much, that it already has finished, because it never was. It never was. You have already arrived where you want to arrive. And therefore you cannot arrive any further or arrive later. It is just you. Hence, it is neither pessimism nor optimism. It is simply a statement of fact. And when a statement of fact is made, and if you don't see that fact, which means now you have to verify it. Find it out. When we say that Earth is spinning around its axis, you do not see that the Earth is spinning around its axis. But this statement now needs to be verified and understood. That is all what remains. And therefore, Vedanta says that if at all there is anything, then all that is required is just to know. And the process of knowledge is Shravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasanam. Nothing more, nothing less. No promises and no fights. And therefore Vedanta is not another contender in the league of wanting to prove whose God is real, whose God is better. Not at all. If you are comfortable with whatever God that you are, we are not even going to disturb you. That's why you will find that people have not gone out converting, persuading, believe in Vedanta. No, no, no. That's not our job at all. When you make a statement of fact, you don't have to request people to believe in it. You don't have to persuade people to believe in it. You don't have to convince people to accept it. A statement of fact by itself is powerful. That is just sufficient. That is just sufficient enough. There is nothing more or nothing less. Friends, it is most wonderful. This is Shabda Pramanam. I will finish this evening's session over here. If there be any questions, please ask. And if I'm able to answer, and if I know, I will. Thank you very much.
So there is a hand raise.
Where? Okay, how to
Mr. Tiruna Karasu. Can you see that? All
one is by Bananji is asked. Yeah, if he can, this gentleman can speak, it will be easier.
I cannot unmute. Can you please unmute, Swamiji? I don't know, from here it is not getting unmuted. Swamiji, can you
question at least, madam? One second, I will let you.
or in the 9th attendee to be unmuted. Thiru Navo Karasu. Please click on that mic symbol.
Okay, got it.
Who is this attendee? What is his name?
Then,
Thiru Navo Karasu.
Okay.
Can you unmute? Just click on that. I don't know, from my side I cannot do it.
Yeah, I have done it already.
No, it is another about that. Yeah, you have clicked on Vasudev Samasundar. About that.
He's self-muted, Vibha.
Yeah, but it cannot be. I don't know. I cannot do it this. Anyway, Mr. Can you please write down the question, sir? Tirunavakaru Karasu. Is again raising the hand.
Yes, sir.
Can you please write down the question, sir?
Right. He's self-muted.
Yeah, we can. Anyway, when there is a question pen, there is a question. I don't think we can call Vedanta as Hindu text. It is more to do with the humanism. It is more to do with a way of life. Am I right? It's from Vijayalakshmi Bangera.
Okay, I'm going to answer this. Hinduism has accommodated several things, and it is really very difficult to define Hinduism in a singular term. There are various standards and there are various yardsticks with which people have tried to define as a race, as a culture, as a geography, as people who believe in certain belief systems, people who accept Veda as an authority, so on and so forth. There are several standards that people have brought in, and all of those put together also cannot really define. And this is what Hinduism is. And this is bound to happen with anything that is not organized. But one thing that we can say, though Hinduism is quite a modern term compared to the word Vedic Dharma, the word Hinduism is quite late. Yet, let us go ahead with what is immediately available. And I can say that much, that this particular culture or these people have been custodians of this pramana, have been the custodians of the Veda. Knowledge cannot be anyone's monopoly, which is true. It belongs to everyone, and it belongs to anyone who understands. So over here, we cannot claim that only Indians have right or Hindus have the right to the Vedas or to that knowledge. But yes, Hinduism in a way has preserved this tradition of learning and teaching. In Hinduism, did we find that the tradition of the Vedas was maintained, retained, challenged, debated, but never ever was it suppressed, never ever was it discarded. And therefore that it is, though it is very alluring in modern context to say that yes, Vedanta does not belong to Hinduism, it belongs to the humanity. I think this kind of a statement though would make a very startling, would have a startling effect. Yet I would say that yes, it does belong to Hinduism, rather than denying the fact that the community or the people or this land which guarded, nourished, cherished the whole process of teaching and learning. So it does belong. Vibhaji,
Yes, Swami, there are one question from Rita Singh, I think.
Yes, please.
What is the main hope that Vedanta gives to younger people to be optimistic in life despite the challenges around? By Rita Singh.
Rita ji, what is the hope that is given to the younger people? In fact, youth means full of hope. Ashishtaha, dridishtaha, balishtaha, yuva syat yuva dhyayakaha. This is the definition of what is called as young, one who is filled with hope, one who already has hope, one who has infinite aspirations in him. A person who has lost hope is a person who is aging and marching towards death, who sees death very close to him, and that's why he has lost hope. This is not the case of you for the youth, and therefore we don't have to provide any hope for them. They already are bubbling with it. I think we should not meddle, and we should not crush their hope. If you do that much, it would be, if we are able to do that much to them, we would be really doing a great service to them. Vedanta does not feel the need of providing and supplying any hope to younger generation. The young means something that is filled with hope, energy, joy, and spirit. We become as if their custodians, we become someone who have the moral rights to kill their hope, to kill their spirit, and to kill their joy. If we don't do that, that much is enough. Vedanta is a different league. Vedanta is Shastram, science, a statement of fact. Statement of fact does not wait because it wants to give you hope. Statement of fact is not meant maybe so that you could sink into a pessimism. Statement of fact is, but there is one definite great thing about it is that it says, Vedanta says that this Atma is Brahman. You cannot find any bigger, greater, profound statement than this in the entire history of humanity. If this does not give you joy, if this does not give you hope, then we do not know what is going to really give you hope. So, I think this is enough. Is that okay, Vibhaji?
Yes, Dayanandji sends pranams to Swamiji.
Dayanandji, pranams to you too. Pranam, Vibhaji, and thank you, friends, for being with me this evening. I will end this particular session with a Shanti Path. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vishishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you all. Thank you very much. Thanks, Vibhaji. Thank you to all
Pranam,
the
Swami.
organizers. Thanks to Swami.
Pranam, Swami. Enjoyed a lot.
Thank you.
Pranam.